It was supposed to be just another ordinary afternoon in the quiet, sunlit neighborhood where CEO Kendra Phillips lived, a place where the air always smelled of luxury and safety. Birds chirped in the manicured gardens, sunlight spilled like gold across her driveway, and the world seemed impossibly perfect. But perfection has a way of cracking in an instant. As Kendra stepped out of her sleek black car, her heels clicked against the marble steps of her grand estate. She was on the phone with her assistant, annoyed about a delayed shipment, when she heard a rustle behind her. Before she could turn, a rough, calloused hand covered her mouth. It was Ethan Ward, the janitor from her corporate building. His blue uniform was streaked with dirt and panic. His eyes, usually gentle, were sharp and terrified. "Don't say a word," he whispered urgently, his voice trembling. "Please, just listen to me. Don't go inside. They're waiting for you." The world stopped. Her phone slipped from her hand and shattered on the stone steps. For a split second, she wanted to scream, to push him away, to demand an explanation, but something in his eyes froze her in place. They weren't the eyes of a threat. They were the eyes of a man who had seen something unspeakable. Before the truth unfolds, take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Bright Hearts if you believe in kindness, courage, and second chances. Kendra's heart raced as she looked toward the massive oak doors of her home. Everything appeared normal, the golden handles gleaming in the sunlight, the faint sound of her security fountain trickling nearby, but Ethan's trembling hands told another story. "What are you talking about?" she hissed in a shaky whisper. But Ethan didn't answer. Instead, he guided her away from the porch, his dirty uniform brushing against her pristine white dress. "Just trust me," he said. "We don't have time." They ducked behind the hedge that bordered her property. Through the leaves, Kendra could see the front of her house. A black SUV was parked a little too close to her gate, something she hadn't noticed before. The tinted windows reflected the sky, hiding whoever was inside. Ethan pointed to it. "They came right after your driver left," he said. "I was cleaning the floors at the corporate lobby when I overheard two men talking near the loading bay. They mentioned your address. Something about taking what's theirs. I didn't think it was real, until I followed them here." Kendra's mind spun. "You followed them?" she whispered in disbelief. "You could have been killed." Ethan looked away. "Maybe, but I wasn't going to let them hurt anyone. Not again." The way he said, "again," made her chest tighten. There was something broken in his voice, something that hinted at a wound deeper than fear. For a few moments, they stayed silent, watching as one of the SUV doors creaked open. A man stepped out, dressed in black, holding something metallic that caught the sunlight. Kendra's breath hitched. "Oh my God, stay down," Ethan ordered softly. "They don't know I'm here." It was surreal. This man she barely knew, the janitor who mopped her office floors and smiled politely in hallways, now risking everything to protect her. Her mind flashed back to the countless times she'd walked past him without even remembering his name. She'd never noticed the exhaustion in his eyes or the sadness in his smile. Minutes felt like hours as the men outside prowled near her front door. Ethan pulled out an old flip phone and sent a quick message. "Police," he muttered. "I called them before I came here." Kendra looked at him, her throat tight. "Why would you do all this? You don't even know me." He took a deep breath, his eyes wet with something heavy. "Because I lost someone once because I didn't act. I'll never make that mistake again." Her chest ached with questions, but before she could ask, one of the men kicked her door open. The loud crash echoed through the street. Kendra's heart nearly stopped. Ethan tensed beside her. "Stay here," he said, rising slowly. "If they see you, they'll panic." "What are you doing?" she whispered desperately. "You can't go in there." But Ethan was already moving, silent, focused, fearless. The next few minutes blurred together. The sound of footsteps, shouts, a crash, and then gunshots. Kendra froze, her body trembling uncontrollably. Tears streamed down her face as she prayed he would come back out. She didn't care about the money, the house, the title, just that one man who had risked everything for her. And then she saw him. Ethan stumbled out through the broken door, his uniform torn, blood streaked down his arm. Behind him, sirens wailed in the distance. The intruders had been subdued, one unconscious, the other pinned to the floor by the time police arrived. But Ethan was collapsing, the weight of it all finally breaking him down. Kendra rushed to his side, catching him before he fell. "You saved my life," she whispered through tears. He smiled faintly. "Guess I still had some fight left." As paramedics took him away, Kendra followed close behind. At the hospital, she waited for hours, pacing the sterile white corridors. The man who had always been invisible to her, the janitor she had barely noticed, had just risked his life for hers. And as she sat there, surrounded by silence and guilt, she realized how blind she had been to the quiet struggles of those around her. When Ethan finally woke up, his first words were soft and self-conscious. "I'm sorry if I scared you." She shook her head, her eyes red. "You didn't scare me. You opened my eyes." Over the next few weeks, Kendra visited him often. She learned that Ethan was a single dad to an 8-year-old boy named Noah, living in a small apartment on the edge of town. His wife had passed away years ago, and every extra shift he took was to pay for his son's medical treatment. He'd once been a firefighter before an injury ended his career. That's why he knew how to stay calm in danger. That's why he couldn't walk away when he overheard that threat. Kendra was humbled. The man she once thought was just a janitor had more courage than anyone she'd ever known. When Ethan finally returned to work, the entire company greeted him with applause. But Kendra had one more surprise: a TA company meeting. She stood before her employees with Ethan beside her. "This man saved my life," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "He's more than an employee, he's a hero. And from today, he won't be cleaning floors anymore. He'll be leading our new community safety initiative, designed to protect and support the families of every worker in this company." The crowd erupted in applause. Ethan's eyes glistened with disbelief. "You didn't have to do this," he said softly. Kendra smiled. "You did what no one else would have done. You saw me not as a CEO, but as a person who needed help. It's time the world saw you for who you really are." As the months passed, Kendra and Ethan's bond deepened. It wasn't romance at first, it was something purer: respect, gratitude, healing. She met Noah, the bright-eyed boy who adored his father. She watched as Ethan slowly rebuilt the confidence life had stolen from him. And somewhere along the way, her heart began to change too. The walls she had built as a powerful CEO began to crumble, replaced by something raw and real. Sometimes, she would find herself watching the sunrise from her porch, the same porch where her life had almost ended, and she would remember that day not with fear, but with thankfulness. Because a single dad janitor, worn and unseen by the world, had reminded her that heroes don't wear suits or carry titles. Sometimes, they carry mops and scars, and hearts that refuse to stop caring. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share it. Don't forget to subscribe to Bright Hearts for more real, emotional stories of kindness and redemption.